Hey, welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here. Where's the co-host? Where's the co-host? Today we're going to be talking about XRP ETF. Is it inevitable? That's a big question. The other concern here is why isn't anybody talking about Flare F assets going into beta? And then you have the XRPL with the XLS-47. There's some updates and a big XDC Accelerator. We got a lot to go into. I want to give a big shout out to a couple X posters out there, X influencers out there, YouTube influencers, but Crypto Eddie posted some really amazing content and some others that we'll get into as we dig through some of this. But what is up with the XRP ETF? Again, is that inevitable? We got a lot to cover, a short amount of time to do that in. So if you guys are ready to kick this thing off, I'm ready to kick it off. So that's where is it? Where's the open? Here we go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Welcome to On the Chain. Let me check over here on the other monitor. We are streaming live on YouTube, on Rumble, and on X. So I'm checking out, making sure I can get the Rumble screen up so I can see what's going over here on the Rumble screen and see what kind of crazy stop motion I can get on, see what I'm looking at. You just pause it there, and that's it. So we got a bunch of things that we want to dig into, bunch of things we want to talk about. Give a quick shout out from where you guys are tuning into. Dawn is about to teach some jujitsu. So it's awesome that you get to tune in right before you teach class. Big shout out to Dawn for that. And let's see, I want to dig into, there's always a little bit of controversy in the space. Got a lot of good stuff. Actually, a bunch of articles here that we want to dig into. And then there's a couple videos that I think are going to be really stellar to watch. One that with Brad Garlinghouse, another with Senator Kennedy. But this is where we want to start. And I think this is kind of a perfect way to start kicking this off before we dive into some of the new news coming out of Flare. So let's make sure when we share the screen, we share the audio. So here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Where is it? Come on now. Okay. Perfect. So you know what? My voice has been coming back incrementally, which is, it's crazy. It was like 3.5, 4 weeks, almost no voice. And you guys heard kind of came on before, over the past month, and it was just ruined. It's amazing. I was sick for like a week, coughing for like 3 days, and then after that, just lost my voice. And then the problem is, we went to a couple Panthers games, in the middle of not having a voice, just as my voice was coming back. Then all of a sudden we're at the game, and of course you got to get all fired up. Saw the Panthers beat the Rangers live and in person, and that was pretty awesome. And then next game, obviously they're going to be playing the Edmonton Oilers starting next Saturday, so that'll also be very cool. All right, so here we go. Crypto Eddie, put this up here. I love. Oh, so hello, Uphold. Did CEO Simon McLaughlin really make this $10,000 price prediction for XRP? I didn't know Exchange made price predictions. So the question is, and we can get into this article, but she cropped out some of the key points here. And as you read through the article, it's really more Scott, kind of, discussing and talking about the prediction, but I didn't see a direct quote specifically from Simon McLaughlin. So I don't know. I mean, this is a key point. There are others that have said that XRP is just really, is structured in such a way that it could go to 1,000 plus. I don't know. But then if we look at, let's see, Simon McLaughlin, the chief executive officer to Uphold, right? A cloud-based. So here, Simon McLaughlin, the chief executive officer of Uphold, a cloud-based financial service platform, has expressed optimism about the XRP price outlook, despite the cryptocurrency's stagnant price. And stagnant meaning what? 50 cents, 52 cents, 53 cents. There's more discussion over Shiba Inu going to a dollar, and maybe even more probability that it goes to a penny before XRP actually hits a dollar at this point. There's more. They seem to be really fired up over there in the Shiba Inu community. So McLaughlin predicts XRP price could surge as high as $10,000, surpassing the value of the world's second largest crypto, which is obviously Ethereum. So I think Crypto Eddie shouting this one out is legit. Did Simon McLaughlin actually make that prediction, and what exactly was behind it? Arthur is saying, ignore such things. These articles are designed to be clickbait. Now, the article, imagine you have to write an entire article clickbait and you kind of get into it. I get it on some of the videos, but then if the entire video is structured in a clickbaity kind of format and a super hypey format and a kind of this utopian, everything's going to be rainbows and unicorns type of video, and then it's kind of leading people in a kind of a wrong direction. Now, if on the other hand you're kind of focused on the title and you want to draw people in a little bit, and then you dispel the title and you kind of dig in and talk about it, maybe that has a completely different outcome. But Crypto Eddie is saying, I agree, Arter, but 3 YouTubers today were featuring this as their XRP content. I think uphold your request. They bring these articles dark if they're not true. And is it true? And how can you really focus the entire video just on this one article for a Bitcoinist? And then really, and I didn't watch the videos, so I don't know. But I think Crypto Eddie is a pretty good judge of content. And so I'm going to take her at face value on this one because she did. And the point, if you're going to feature it, obviously you're going to have some issue because there's a high probability chance he didn't say it, or if he did say it, it's been taken out of context, which we're seeing a lot in this space, especially when it comes to the government, U.S. government buying back XRP, or somehow XRP being pegged to the value of gold, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We've talked about all of that before many, many times. So, Brady Cat, what is up? Glad to hear you feeling better. Yep. Flare is going to be huge in his opinion, IMO, which is in your opinion, in my opinion, not financial advice. But yeah, I kind of agree. We're kind of moving in the right direction. So let's hear it right from the developer host, right? So here is Hugo Philon, Fassets, open beta has now launched. Now that this is definitely a big deal. One of the things, obviously, this is full utility in a beta format. Now we get to let the tech users actually dig in and see what works, what doesn't work. This is going to be monumental as the system moves forward and can actually be a fully functional a solution, fully functional system. And this is obviously really, really important. I'm glad that we're seeing more and more momentum coming out of Fassets and Hugo Philon with Flare. One of the things that Chip and I talk about a lot is interoperability. The one thing that Flare has done really well is creating a platform that is all about interoperability of the different assets. So that is really, really great. So let's see what this let's see if there's any audio to this, or is it just kind of see it just a graphic. Let's see what this is. Just a graphic. Fassets open. Beta is live. So let's see. Let's look at this a little bit more. Fassets phase 1 starts. Technical users get early access. Help shape the Fassets system. Phase 2 launches soon, where everyone is invited to mint F-Test XRP with the Fasset dashboard. A retroactive airdrop is planned. So for all those beta testers out there, a great job. I do want to see exactly what this is. It'll be great to really test and retest the system. Another airdrop. I don't know how I feel about that. The first time they pushed out the airdrop for Flare, didn't really go over so well in the community. Then they did a song, the Songbird airdrop, didn't resonate so well in the community, caused a little bit of tension, took away from focus on the project. Maybe now is a little bit different. I don't know if you guys have any feelings or opinions on it. Love to see your commentary on that. How do you feel about the airdrop? How do you feel about the direction with Flare doing the third airdrop? Is it going to have? Are they going to I guess will the airdrop be done without any issue, or is it going to cause more hesitancy or potentially a little bit of blowback from the community? That's what I'd like to know and see what you guys think about that. So Flair saying it is planned to incentivize participation in the full F asset rollout, not limited to participants in the beta only. So that means airdrop to others that are participating and working on it. Again, if that's a means of compensation, I would like to see more education in the on the platform. I'd like to see more support for utility on the platform. But here you have the system enables trustless use of tokens like BTC, XRP, and Doge on Flare, earning yields in DeFi and bridging to other chains via layer cake. So wow, I mean, there's so much involved in Flare that, again, you look at, they're bringing together different assets. The trustless use, I think, is really critical. I want to see, full functionality of smart contracts with Flare. I know we're just kind of getting, you know, looking at the very beginnings of it. F assets can unlock the value of 800 billion crypto assets, and the private beta is now live on Flare's Austin testnet. I think that this is, again, it's huge. Obviously, just the utility of the different assets, seeing utility in the space, seeing momentum, movement, and seeing a project leader, right, come out, communicating the excitement over the project as well, with three rockets. Not a lot of not a lot of commentary, but the three rockets. Is it moon time for Flare? Is Flare going to be making some monumental changes here? So let's go through and see what else we got, because there's really been a lot going on within Flare. I think we're seeing more with Flare than we are on most platforms that are going to be utilizing XRP. Uh, but here you have, it's been, so when did this one post? This was earlier today, 5 a.m. So it's been a busy couple months. Here's a recap to recent developments in the Flare ecosystem. I mean, it's really amazing, right? So obviously we've seen others that are making some progress. We have been asking, what's Flare up to? What are they doing? What do we see? What kind of changes are they making? When are they getting ready to roll and go live? How close are they? That keeps coming up. Here you have the first one, kinetic lending platform from Rome Blockchain Labs. Rain Lang innovate intense like DEX, launch a first native stablecoin, the USDX by Hex Trust, launch of first real world assets protocol by Clearpool, on chain treasuries. We can go through and look at each one individually as well. Launch of first liquid staking pool on Flare with Scepter, ongoing upgrade of Flare's price oracle to FTSO version 2, enabling 1,000 price series with one block updates, launch of Flare Labs, F Asset Protocol, and open beta on Songbird testnet. So all those things, everything's going on, just slow and right here, slowly but surely, then all at once. I mean, we've seen it just kind of like this gradual rollout. I'm trying to think, what was it like a year ago? Was it? There we go. Everything blacked out. Very strange. Yeah. What just happened? Is everything coming back? Hello, hello. If you guys can hear me, let me know. I'm gonna have to remove myself momentarily, but it's just like everything just blacked out on me. I think my computer, my camera came unplugged too. So let me see here. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Give me a quick something, shout out, something. But that was really weird that my computer just decided, hey, you know what? We're gonna shut off right now. So I guess you can still see that I'm posting here, but I haven't seen any comments over here in a little while. Things are still ticking down. Let me go over here and see where we're at. See if I can over on Rumble. Oh, there we go. Okay, you guys can hear me. What? This is so crazy. All right, I'm gonna have to remove myself momentarily. While I do that, here's what I'm gonna do. Mainly because let me see, where did it go? Here we go. I'm gonna put this up while I fix the camera. This is a video with John Kennedy, Senator John Kennedy. I'm gonna play this. He's always funny. He's always fun. So if you guys just want to watch this for a minute, then we'll come back. We'll have some commentary on it. Then I actually have a bunch more content on Flare. So let me go. Let me put you guys full screen with Senator Kennedy's video, and then we'll play it here real quick. Let me make sure the audio's on. Let's see what we got. Here we go.
Okay, I want you to listen up. Here's the drill. President Biden is in trouble politically. He's polling right up there with fungal infections. Part of the reason for that is that he gave in to the loon wing of his party, and he dissolved the southern border. Now, 5 months before an election, he has to appear to be willing to do something about it, hence this executive order. And he expects you to report this epiphany that he has had, take what the White House is telling you, balance it on your noses like trained seals, and report it uncritically. For 3 years, we have watched President Biden push on a door that has been clearly marked pull. He's mismanaged Congress, COVID, the national debt, the economy, inflation, crime, Afghanistan, Iran, the war in Gaza, the war in Ukraine, and now, of course, the border. And every time, I think the president has hit rock bottom. He has managed to find a shovel and continue to dig. Hence, this executive order. And I think that's what the American people see. The first question I would ask President Biden is this. It's a little late, isn't it, Mr. President? It's a little late.
All right. Sorry, my camera is, I think it's completely out. I don't know what happened to the camera. Very bizarre. So we're just going to go like all these other YouTubers that just post up. At least I got an image of my face up there. That'll be cool for right now. You guys can still hear me, but that's really cool. That's good. Yeah. So I don't, man, Jim D, I don't know if I 100% agree. John Kennedy, funny, but a closet Democrat. We'd have to discuss that in more detail on that one. But all right, so here we go. We're gonna have to talk like this, but we have a whole bunch of stuff to share. I thought it was just funny. It was just really the intro part of the video that I thought was really funny. You know, as he's talking about Biden being a fungal infection or whatever he said. That was kind of funny. So here's another one. going to get into, let me put this one up. This is another Hugo Filan post, and there were a whole bunch. And I actually was commenting on Minus Wells. So Minus Wells is saying just 5 days. This is June 3rd. We have 2x more TVL in one pool than all pools combined on the XRPL. Flare network is going to rage. Right? He's talking about XRP or Flare, really starting to see some solid momentum, right? And so Hugo Filan said this isn't a great comparison because the XRPL isn't a leader in DeFi. The target is to catch up with and then pass the leading DeFi network. So Hugo's saying, at the XRPL, don't even draw a comparative because it's not really a leader. And in fact, if you look at like where the XRPL currently falls in terms of those that are building on it, I think, it's down the list, like 47, something like that. Fassets and Flare, excellent DeFi builders, are the route to that. Now, this is such a solid point. Yes, he's kind of targeting the XRPL, not a leader in the space, not a leader in DeFi. However, the Fassets and with Flare, they have a lot of builders. They're developing, they're rolling things out, they're making progress. One of the things that is going to be very obvious, especially in this next cycle, to where the XRPL needs to gain more influence. XRP as an asset needs to gain more influence, is really going to come from not just utility on its own, because utility comes from platforms that are using the asset. So how do you get utility? You got to build. You got to build on the XRPL. You got to build platforms that are using XRP. It's not going to be buybacks. It's not going to be gold schemes. It's not any of that stuff. Does XRP go to 10,000 like the first one? I don't know if it does. Does it have the capability of going well beyond where it's at? Of course it does. There has to be a lot more momentum. And this is, to the point, where, I think here's Herbinger X. Why has Ripple not tried to promote app assets? Do they see it as a threat or competition? That to me, that could be it's a really solid question. Does Ripple on its own, in terms of what Ripple's objective is? Hey, Rob McDermott, what is going? Look at that badass Yeti. That's a kick-ass, badass Yeti elder right there. That's kick-ass. I love it. What's going on, Sophie? Good to see you. I'm kind of going back in time a little bit. Guys, got to bear with me. No camera. That's how it's going to have to be for a little bit. But to that point, Ripple is focused on Ripple's business and rolling out whatever, they're developing with the RippleNet, movement of money, working with banks, working with financial institutions, working, with big corporation. They're going to be rolling out their stable coin. The ecosystem, and this is, they seem passionate about the ecosystem. They put some limited money behind the ecosystem. We see, they come out, they show up at the different conferences, and really putting out there. I don't think that they're doing enough to develop the ecosystem from the ecosystem's perspective. Being that they're, kind of the bearers of $50 billion in XRP that was put in escrow that could be burned if the validators voted to burn the escrow, which obviously won't happen. But they're the ones overseeing the escrow, managing the escrow, and spending the assets in the escrow. Now, if you want kind of a fast track, to look how fast things are coming in now all of a sudden. If you want a fast track to seeing development on the XRPL, it's going to take a huge sum of money. And this is why other projects are starting to invest in their ecosystem. And that becomes really, really important, that we're starting to see, big development in the ecosystem. We're not seeing development, because we're seeing development for sure. We're seeing the XRPL, which I think would be relatively, unique in the space, we're seeing we're seeing XRPL definitely advance and make progress, and we're seeing the technology kind of adapt and change, which is really critical as the space. And I talk about the financial space in general at large. Let's call it, kind of the populist space, not the crypto space. The mainstream space is really starting to get to the point where digital assets are becoming acceptable, with a caveat. Blockchain is going to become more and more readily acceptable. AI is rolling out faster than anyone could ever imagine. We want trustless, seamless processes, removing the human error middleman, which is critical. So here you see, development, the XRPL version 2.2.0, now available, and introduces the new XLS-47 price Oracle amendment. Also includes an important fix amendment to avoid the creation of empty DIDs, as well as smaller fix amendments for the AMM, et cetera. So, and, transaction IDs. So there's obviously progress being made. There's issues they're seeing as more and more utility of the space is going to be needed. But really, where is the development? Like, you see, I want to see growth. Again, to get growth, we need more investment. To get that more investment, it has to come from someplace, and maybe it has to come from Ripple. They're sitting on a lot. Are they kind of bogged down right now with the lawsuit? They have been for the past couple years, but yet they haven't let up. Ripple as a company hasn't let up. They're still building and developing and networking on a global scale. So saying, hey, you know what? We're going to take $1 billion and sink it into the community. That would be massive. I think that would create so much excitement around XRP, the asset. Would create so much excitement from a builder developer perspective that potentially there's a significant fund that could start being made available to a lot of the serious builders. We're not talking about taking money and putting it into something that is instantly going to fail because it has a woke political agenda, but taking it and investing in companies that can present a true, solid use case, that they're providing a solution to real world problems. And they could maybe roll out and say, we want to invest in development in the payment space, and we're going to put $100 million into the payment space. And we're looking for companies that have a solution that might be B2B, B2C, whatever it might be, that's outside of the financial institution, that's not just about moving, but is actually solving a problem, not just moving money like they're moving money, or, 1,000 other projects could potentially, move money. Want to see an actual, problem and solution. Rob McDermott, hey, here's my response to Flare on the retro drop. One of two, because he's got a 2-point here. Seriously, a retroactive airdrop. Not sure how everyone is going to feel about this, but I've been here supporting Flare since the first snapshot, and waiting and supported through all the delays. And now you're going to reward the noobs. I'm trying not to be pissed. But I think, yes, you getting the Flare airdrop that they rolled out over an extended period of time versus the new beta test. They want to compensate those that are participating in the beta test. That would be the only reason why I wouldn't get upset about it, because it is something that's going to take time and effort on behalf of those that are beta testing. Then moving to the next step, if people are actually using the platform, create an airdrop. But if it's just a matter of, hey, register here, or if you have XRP, or you have Flare, or you have Songbird, we're going to give you an airdrop. We'll have to see how that rolls out. I wasn't a big fan of the first airdrop, as I said. I think it just caused a lot of chaos. I think that it should have been done, a little bit differently. I chalked it up to the company at the time being a little immature in terms of where it was at the time. It was still relatively new, not immature in terms of their overall behavior, but kind of young, I should say. It was still young, and would do young things or immature things like the airdrop that was supposed to drive more community support and get hype in the community. And I think it was the exact opposite. And we said that from day one. Where we came out and said this isn't a good idea from day one. Anyhow, I didn't mean to like hover on this post here, but if I don't, then this is all you guys see. You see my face on a little circle with a little thing like a sound thing going over it. So at least we can reference stuff. So it's interesting because as this whole Flare thing kind of rolled out, Crypto Eddie posted this earlier today that she can't believe that the largest so-called XRP key opinion leaders did not cover the Flare network announcement. It's not now what you hold or know what you hold, but know who you follow 100%. Fassets phase 1 began, and she kind of went over everything we talked about. Phase 2, XRP is first, starting with test XRP faucet. 3, retroactive airdrop to incentivize rollout, cost in beta, then Songbird cost in 2, and then Flare. That's how close it's getting. It's progress is being made again. Crypto Eddie is a very, very good judge of everything that's going on in the space. I think extremely highly respected across the board for content, opinion. I mean, so much. I had the pleasure of meeting her in person at the Wave of Innovation that Chip and I both emceed. And we emceed that event, which was phenomenal over in Australia. And it was great. Just days and days of being up on the stage, introducing everybody and having a lot of fun. And we also had Rob over there as well, which was a lot of fun. The lack of coverage is unfortunate because too much of the XRP army have just been price go up hodlers 100%. I mean, that's what it's about. FUD and FOMO. And you're right. It's speculative. It's all about speculation, Rob. And that's unfortunately what so many people, they're just looking at the speculation. But in order to drive the asset, now Bitcoin is different. First mover advantage, right? It's recognized on the global stage as a store of value. It's valuable. It's being adopted by countries. It's being stockpiled by countries. It's being stockpiled in treasuries in with companies like MicroStrategy. Bitcoin is doing a lot. The Bitcoin ETF, I think, is definitely game changing and rewarding because it's opened up the space. And again, Bitcoin was first. Ethereum has a space, has a place. There's a lot going on with Ethereum. I think obviously if it wasn't for Bitcoin, we wouldn't be here talking right now. If it wasn't for Ethereum, we probably wouldn't be here talking either, mainly because the ERC20s blew up the ecosystem in general. Now there's an opportunity. The XRPL has to have its moment because it was built to move money. It was built with an exchange in its own ecosystem. It has a DEX, DeFi. We have XRP.cafe minting NFTs. It was actually, when you go through the process, getting onto the XRP.cafe and minting an NFT project on a platform that uses XRPL was relatively easy. Once you got the pieces together and we figured it out, we tried to do it on the ordinal with Bitcoin. It was ridiculously expensive. We went through the process. It was going to be so costly. Now we're actually working on a project that's going to roll out soon on Solana, which was exciting because we had the experience of the first 2 Badass Yetis NFTs, and we have 2 more Badass Yetis. They're going to have to come out on XRPL. Still have intent of what we can do with it, especially looking at Root and seeing what is going on in the X Spectre. We have some land over there and space over there to see what we can do. And then there's just so much going on overall in the kind of the gaming, tapping into that gaming space as well, just to see what the potential is. There's so much more. It's so much more vast, so much more vast. Kind of going through, some of the commentary here, but Rob, so XR Peaky Blinder saying, I really don't understand all the frustration with the airdrop. It happened. It's over. The opportunities is there still of watch grudge cause in a space where people preach no emotion. Yeah, my issue with the airdrop wasn't so much the frustration of the extended rollout. I looked at it, hey, once it rolled out, it's free money. It's a free airdrop. I thought that part, you can't complain about that. The main issue overall with what I had is that I think it just backfired. And I think it did the exact opposite, which is what I was saying. It did the opposite. The Songbird airdrop, I think, was critical because it allowed them to test the platform. That part of the airdrop was important. People complained about the Songbird, and that's the one I said, hey, that one of all of them is probably the most critical because it was then, pushing for utility. Now this one is going to be the same because it's beta testing. You have to compensate, and you also want to see interaction within the space overall. Rob McDermott, everyone who loves XRP and Flare should read or listen to Hijacking Bitcoin by Roger Ver to understand the beginning of all this and for context of value on chain and the power of fast payments. Yeah, the fast payments. That's really interesting too. So what is going on? And it coexists crypto. There you go. Let's all coexist in this interoperable space of cryptocurrencies. Keep building. XRP will have its day. Once it happens, XRP.cafe will have mass adoption. And that's it. You got to keep building. I love the XRPL space. I love the XRP community. I think it's one of the best and most friendly communities. But even in families and amongst friends, you're going to have disagreements, and you're going to have differences of opinions, and and that's just how it is. You got to live with that. So just so important. That's it. Let's see. All right. Want to move on to the next one. Here it is. So this was put up by Bank XRP. Oh wait, I'm not sharing the screen. Let's share it. This is good. We'll listen to the beginning of it. Oh, let me pause it. So this is Brad Garlinghouse on Fox Business talking, and the question starts regarding an Ethereum ETF and some commentary on that. So let's kind of get into this. I think it's like a 7-minute video. We don't have to watch the whole thing, but let's start this out. Here we go.
Is Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse in studio, no less. Let's get to Ether first. Word on the street is that spot Ether ETF is going to come alive. It's alive next month, as early as next month, maybe July. Who knows? What do you think?
I think that's right. And I think it is a big deal just in terms of further opening the markets to more people who want to access it. Obviously, the Bitcoin ETF went live in January, and you saw 10 billion. I mean, it took, I think, 2 months to reach the same level it took gold ETF to reach over like a year. So
that's amazing. I mean, number one, it's talking about the inevitability of the Ethereum ETF, the level at which the Bitcoin ETF rolled out. You're saying in that couple months that took gold a year. It just shows you the focus. So many people, I believe, were sitting on the sidelines for Bitcoin, waiting for the ETF. They want to own Bitcoin without owning Bitcoin. They want to do it through traditional financial sources, meaning whatever trading platform. Is it Fidelity? Is it whatever platforms are out there? I don't know, E-Trade is gone, whatever that became. But I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. And so that's the point. I think there was a lot sitting on the sidelines and a lot of institutional money that probably sitting on the sidelines also waiting to trade. So that's interesting.
same level it took gold's ETF to reach over like a year. So the interest in this space remains very, very high. And I think the ETH ETF will do extremely well.
What do you think is behind the SEC becoming, let's just call it more pragmatic about cryptocurrency ETFs and the approval process?
Well, I think the first thing is they've lost a lot in court. And so, they really got dragged kicking and screaming across the line to get the Bitcoin ETF live. And I think they realized that if they were going to drag their feet and fight around the ETH ETF, that likely the same outcome was going to happen. And I mean, it's frustrating that we have to go through the courts to get those positive outcomes. The United States should be investing in these technologies. We should be embracing these from a job creation, from a technical innovation. And unfortunately, this SEC has been fighting it every step of the way.
I've known you for
100% spot on. Yep. The SEC has caused so much commotion in the space that it has such negative impact on the overall development within the US, our markets here, crypto, blockchain tech, especially with the growth of AI. That all needs to be, center focused in the U.S. and the innovation really has gone offshore, or it's stagnated innovation because of what the SEC is doing at the behest of certain representatives like Elizabeth Warren, who is extremely, extremely anti-cryptocurrency, anti-innovation. And there's others around, that are anti-innovation, or at least have been on the sidelines and because of that, they just kind of let things happen. But you take like someone like Shifty Schiff, and all of a sudden now he comes out as pro crypto, and he really wasn't. There are no statements, zero statements out of him. Maxine Waters was extremely anti crypto, or at least just ambivalent to it. So if you're ambivalent to it and you do nothing to support it and support the development and growth of innovation, then you're against it. You can't have ambivalence and be in a position of power and then let it kind of stagnate. And she was at the time as the chair of the Financial Services Committee, obviously gone now. So there's just a lot here, a lot to unpack. I like Brad Garlinghouse because I like the way he presents himself. I like how, the things that he says, in terms of, the impact on the space. Granted, what's happening at large in the space is detrimentally impacting Ripple. Ripple is obviously a massive, has a massive investment for blockchain and crypto to be regulatory clarity to be put in place. It's extremely detrimental to the further development growth of Ripple, the company in the US, whereas they've had significant growth patterns in other parts of the world. So that's
I don't know, 7 years now. And back then, y'all didn't have that loud a voice.
For sure.
It feels like you do now. So what about an XRP ETF? You were speaking at the Consensus 2024 conference just a week ago, and
Right.
you said inevitable, not just for XRP, but Solana and Cardano, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But XRP in particular, the SEC has tried to throw you down in court.
Yeah.
Don't you think that Gensler and company might just say, no, that one, no way?
I think it's a hard argument with them to win. I mean, can they make life difficult? They've made life difficult for a lot of people, then they've lost in court. What I was talking about at the Consensus conference last week in Austin was that people don't want just exposure to one commodity. So if you have exposure to gold, you might want exposure to silver. If you have exposure to other commodities. And so to me, it only makes sense. You don't want to have just a single threaded asset exposure. So I think people also forget that it wasn't that long ago, before the SEC got involved, that XRP was the second most valuable digital asset. That was before the SEC kind of anointed ETH. Then they couldn't answer the question, is ETH a security or not? And now they've approved the ETF. They contradict each other. It's very contradict themselves. It's very difficult to follow.
Let's not assume that
Man, he said some really, really critical things here. Let's hang on.
Security or not, and now they've approved the ETF. They contradict each other. It's very contradict themselves. It's very difficult to follow.
It's really interesting, the contradictions within the SEC, and they can make life miserable, and they did. They didn't just impact Ripple, the company; they impacted all the XRP holders. The fact that, and he pointed that out, that the SEC kind of anointed Ethereum, and shortly thereafter decided to try to crush XRP, singling out Ripple, knowing probably full well that a lawsuit against Ripple would have a detrimental impact on XRP. But they didn't just single out Ripple. They in their court documents, they had also singled out XRP holders, and kind of didn't really demonize them, belittled XRP holders. Just saying, no, they're not as intelligent, or forget the verbiage that they used. But it was extremely belittling, and it was coming from the attorneys, from the SEC attorneys. One of the things that Brad Garlinghouse said right in the beginning is that the lawsuit that he's facing, he's protecting the interest of the crypto community at large. If Ripple goes down, everything goes down. It's interesting because there's Brad Garlinghouse kind of on the front line with the SEC, the government initiative, probably getting marching orders from, or giving marching orders to, Elizabeth Warren from the Senate. So there's members within the House and the Senate, Democrats, that are extremely antagonistic against the crypto space. Now, what's interesting is that here he is on the forefront. Trump, same thing, has been singled out at a much larger scale than Ripple and Brad Garlinghouse. Brad Garlinghouse, just one agency and a couple members of Congress singled him out and went after his company. You see many within, the obviously the Democrats, the DNC, DAs, judges, all that were put in place and positioned by mostly Democrats, have singled out Donald Trump, and obviously he's on the forefront, in the front on this battle for freedom and to uphold the Constitution, and here's Brad Garlinghouse doing the exact same thing for decentralization. What do you think? Decentralized world brings freedom. Trump is fighting freedom. Brad Garlinghouse is fighting financial freedom, because if they have it the other way, and the government imposed digital currency with full programmability, we know what the outcome is. We know these passports, or whatever these are, that they're rolling out in Australia and in Iceland, and they have in China, with social scoring, and they track everything that you do. Not so much yet over in Australia or Iceland, but in Iceland, everything you do is tracked. Every purchase, every movement. I mean, everything, your whole life. And Australia's not too far away. So here you have, again, two that are fighting for freedom. I just find it just really, really interesting to see, these similarities too. I mean, yeah, it's just crazy. Just crazy. There's a lot of good commentary here. What did Rob put out here? Heads up. No, this is from Jim D. Heads up. The old petrodollar deal agreement for U.S. being a mercenary for the Saudis OPEC 50 years ago is up for renewal this month. It's going to be expired and not removed. It's all a big plan. I want to know what happens. The price of oil, does it skyrocket? It's already been shown that BRICS nations are dropping the yuan, and they're going back to the dollar, because it doesn't last long. You can't get a basket of these currencies that fluctuate like in the morning breeze. They just kind of float around. You can't do that. You can't have it. So there's a lot of shifting going on. Let's hear a little bit more about what he says, and then we'll move on.
Let's not assume that all our investor audience understand what XRP is. XRP is the token or the coin that Ripple, which is a money transaction site, right, that is charged, right?
Yeah.
You get paid in XRP, but it's become something that people can also buy whether they use the Ripple blockchain, right?
Correct. So XRP is a digital asset, not that dissimilar than Bitcoin or ETH. There's different characteristics of each asset. Bitcoin has really become digital gold and has thrived because of that. ETH, there's a lot of excitement around the smart contracts capabilities. XRP is extremely fast on a per transaction basis and extremely inexpensive. People talk about gas fees and transaction costs of some other tokens. Ripple uses XRP as part of our technical stack to do cross-border payment flows.
And you charge.
Man, he sounds like Chip and I when he talks. It's the exact same thing we say. He just says it a lot more eloquently. Like I always says, XRP is part of their technical stack. That makes a lot more sense.
You charge whoever is moving the money,
Correct.
0.00001 of XRP, which stands around 51 cents or something right now. But here's my question. Right now, the main competitor in that space is SWIFT. That, of course, is the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Transactions.
Here we go. This is the big one, and then we'll move on. Yeah, I think there's so many great things in here. This was really outstanding. The whole interview, just to see the way she handled it too. I mean, she could have handled it in such a way that we've seen others that they just don't get it, but I'm glad that she's Rob, she's trying hard to recall and say her talking points. Exactly. There's certain things that she wants to get in there. She has to get them in there, which is really great.
That's the global one that a lot of people use. They charge much more, do they not?
Yeah, they really are the dominant. I mean, Swift has been around for, 50, 60 years. And the frustrating part for all of us as users of Swift is that it really hasn't changed in 50 or 60 years. The architecture of how it works, it means it's slow, it's expensive, and frankly, it's quite error prone. Some studies have shown that about 6% of all Swift attempts to wire a Swift transaction end up in errors that bounce back, and then it takes days to get it back.
What about you guys?
Well, an XRP transaction and a payment flow for us is really real time. It's instant, it's cross-border. And the really powerful thing for a lot of our customers is they don't have to pre-fund accounts because our customers are financial institutions.
Yeah, remember that you got the Nostro Vostro, they're pre-funding accounts, or there's a third party involved that's helping make the transaction. And he's right, extremely error prone. And I've been in transactions, cross-border, where you have someone transferring money and there's an error and you don't find out about the error for like 3 days, right? And then you find out, they're like, did you get the money? I don't know if I got the money. It can take 3 to 5 days to go through Swift. It's not fast. So your 3 days go by, 4 days go by, and then all of a sudden you get a notification from the bank. Oh, there was an error. The transaction didn't go through. But now we got to reverse the error. So guess what? Now, in order to refund the account or turn things around or whatever it was, now you're waiting, and you have to wait for that transaction to clear up so they can release the funds. And maybe that takes, so now all of a sudden, 7 days go by, 10 days go by, whatever it is. Because now if you're dealing with someone overseas, guess what they have to do? They have to go to their bank. So at the time, my experience a lot was over in Europe and India. And India, they had to go to the bank. They couldn't go online and do a bank wire transfer. They had to go into the branch, and they would do these transactions, and it was really difficult. And it's crazy. And that's how, as I've told the story, back in 2014, I started looking for solutions, and that's how I came across Bitcoin. I started looking at, setting up wallets and figuring out how I get people to get the Bitcoin and transfer it, and the cost and simplification and all of that. Obviously it didn't work at the time. It would have been way too complex to do that, but it would have been great. Yep. I was thinking a little bit way ahead of time. Even today, if you want to do a transaction, it's still not so easy. It's still a little bit complex. So and that's really a big part of it. Rob McDermott, financial institutions and large global companies via their treasury departments. A lot of stuff going on with the movement of money, all this stuff. But hang on a second. All right. So let's go on here. I had some other good stuff here. Where do we end up? We had that one. We had the ETF. So here's another. There's a couple more here. There's something with the XDC Accelerator program. So we'll put that up here in a second. But this one is big also. So let's add this one up here. This is big. This is this is Daniel Keller from Casino Coin. And he's been in the ecosystem for a while. And he says, if you try to shit on Casino Coin for what it has accomplished, you're literally shitting on the XRPL ecosystem as a whole. Do your homework or stop replying. It's embarrassing. If I'm on top, this ecosystem has a problem. Few. That being said, learn how to read a chart with context. Try what we offer. I don't make the rules. Don't hate the player. Hate. I mean, I'm reading through this. It's just really fun. I find, I love it. But Diaz from X Spectre is saying this ecosystem has a problem. Daniel said, you're not allowed to say this. Please hype the ETF. It's happening in 2025. And it just kind of goes on, yeah, I mean, it's really great. Daniel is up front. He's out there. He's talking about Casino Coin. Years ago, I think we had them on the show, which was great. But all right, let's get through these. XDC. There's two more that are really important that we have to look at. This is one. We thank you, Crypto Eddie, for finding this stuff. I mean, it's just outstanding to see what gets found. We're not going to watch the video. But what we need to do is just look at the XDC Accelerator program. I love the idea of the Accelerator program. Attention, startups and founders, 100,000 up for grabs. The XDC network teamed with Tenity Global for an XDC Accelerator program for 10 projects. Don't miss the deadline. Hopefully, not giving 100,000 total and then 10,000 to 10 projects. 10,000 can help too. I mean, don't get me wrong. Any dollar you can get as a project is critical. But I like seeing they're investing. I mean, this is really good. I remember, talking to Crypto Eddie a while ago and getting XDC a long time ago, mainly, and so I think it's great. I like seeing, I'm seeing development in the XDC space. I'm seeing them investing in projects. I like it. I want to see more of it. I definitely do. I want to see more. That'd be great. That would be outstanding. Kelly, 100%. It kills me with YouTube. Right here we are. So YouTube has crushed us. I've got 35 people watching us on YouTube right now. 32. That's it. We used to have a minimum of 100 on a live stream, 125, 300. We'd easily get 3,000 views per video. We're streaming pretty often. Now it's crazy. We could barely break 1,000 views, sometimes not even 500 views on YouTube. On X right now, we've got 88 watching on Chips X, got 22 on mine, and 48 on the chain. So it's crazy that YouTube as a whole will promote the garbage with the AI ads, and they're just crushing us over there on YouTube. I don't know what it's all about. It's just really, really difficult to absorb how crazy that is. What's going on? All right, I gotta remove that. Let's see what else we got here. All right, we've got financial. This is the last one. Even I had some other stuff. The U.S. government, the Pentagon, and Palantir have something going on, but this is huge. This is a big deal. And maybe we just play like a second of it because that's the time. But here, look at this. that turned up. French Hill from the Financial Services Committee.
Last month, the committee made history by ushering in comprehensive digital asset market structure legislation across the House floor with strong bipartisan support. This came on the heels of strong bipartisan support to repeal Staff Accounting Bulletin 121 so that regulated financial institutions would be able to custody digital assets. Although our work with digital assets is far from done, I'm delighted that the subcommittee's focus today will now shift to other related topics. The tokenization of real-world assets is one such area that I'm particularly interested in getting into today. Because tokenizing real-world assets involves blockchains or distributed ledger technology, some might view tokenization as a mere extension of the digital asset conversation that we've been having in this committee for over a year. However, it deserves its own distinct conversation and prioritization. While digital assets are generally issued and managed on blockchain networks, tokenization can bring traditional finance, quote, on-chain. To put this in a different context, tokenization can leverage the efficiency and transparency of blockchains to help modernize U.S. markets. Some components of our capital markets suffer from inflated cost, stranded liquidity, siloed markets, and high barriers to entry. Unsurprisingly, some of these limitations are also present in the banking system as well, where it can take time to transfer funds, reconcile ledgers between two different financial institutions. With the help of blockchain, tokenization can automate some of these critical processes within a financial transaction, bringing along streamlined settlement, lower costs, and lowering agency costs is such an important component of benefiting consumers in financial services.
Point with all this, you're seeing movement, we're seeing actual acceptance within the House, within the Financial Services Committee of digital currency, of the benefit of blockchain, tokenization of real world assets. It's what Congressman French Hill is talking about. It's a big deal. We didn't get this kind of momentum with Maxine Waters sitting in the Financial Services Committee. Most of these bills, most of these discussions went to the Financial Services Committee to die, and that's where they died. And that's why the Token Taxonomy Act never got any traction. The very few bills that they presented just didn't go anywhere. Now all of a sudden there's traction. The SAB 121 made it to be vetoed. It was vetoed by the resident in the White House, by Biden. Vetoed it. It could have been really positive. Fit 21 passed through, sitting in the Senate. Probably won't see the Senate for a little while, and might not even make it through the next election cycle. The fact that they're talking about the tokenization of real world asset, watch out. 2025, we're going to see some major things happening. Again, it's not about the hype. It's not about the speculation. Much of the delay and development in the space in the U.S. is caught up due to lack of regulatory clarity. I believe that's where the XRPL is caught up. I think XRPL, being a more or less financial-esque platform for movement of money with the DEX and on all these things that can be done within it, the tokenization of asset, I think needs to be tied in somehow with the XRPL. I think Flare is positioning itself really well to be there as we see the acceptance of some sort of clarity, of regulatory clarity rolling through Flare, to provide a platform for smart contracts, a platform for interoperability is super exciting. The XRPL, I think, still has a long way to go, needs to continue. Money has to be injected into it, into projects that are going to be built on it. 2025, I think, is going to be a big year because of regulatory clarity. I think new administration comes in, new focal point. removal of all the barriers. There's discussion now. They're setting the stage. They're passing the bills. As long as you see a Republican-controlled House, with you're gonna see an appetite for moving these types of bills forward. Now, granted, again, there was bipartisanship in passing this. Majority was for sure, Republicans pushing this through. Most of the bills have Republican sponsors, with some Democrats co-sponsors. They fall kind of into their category of what they're passionate about. This is our financial success, the financial innovation space, or innovation at large, and then freedom, limited government, constitution, and freedom of movement of how you decide you want to spend your money, how you want to develop, what you want to invest in. All of that stuff, they have to take the shackles off. The shackles will come off. We're going to see more development, more growth. And like Brad Garlinghouse was saying, Bitcoin is recognized globally as gold, as a store of value. Ethereum for its smart contracts and its ERC20s to help build the space. A lot of hype in that space. A lot of projects that are going to go away. Brad Garlinghouse, I think, at one time said he thought maybe 99% of the projects, a large percentage of projects, will go away. Why? Because they are solutions in search of problems. They don't have problems to apply to. The only projects that succeed or will succeed long term will be those that solve real world problems. And we're going to see more and more of those coming to the forefront. This space is going to be even more exciting than where it's been. We're leaving the dancing bears behind. We're leaving a lot of the hype behind. The crypto space is turning a corner. It's got to remove itself from pure speculation. It's got to move itself in the direction of building, developing, and everything else. And the shackles are coming off. I mean, that's all I've got today. You guys have been outstanding. Love coming in here to talk to everybody, and seeing the commentary and everything that everybody has shared here. You guys are awesome. Like Jim to Kelly, it's all part of the political circus. They'll put Trump minimally in house arrest. We'll see if that happens. We're gonna see. Yeah, the whole thing being the champion defending the border with an executive order is BS. They all know it. They let the problem. They let it fester. They let the infection fester to the point where it's close to gangrene, and now they're going to try to treat it with, they're going to treat it with a hand grenade, with an executive order that's pretty much pointless coming from him. They already have too many people in this country that they let in. The problem has already started. So, now it's you need a completely new administration. No one's buying the BS, which is great. I don't think it's going to trick anybody that all of a sudden he's putting a Band-Aid on the open border and it's going to start limiting people coming in. This is, this is a play right out of their typical handbook. Create the problem and then come up with a solution to solve the problem you created, but then you only solve part of it. The open border crisis, they created it. They own it. The disaster that's been created, they own it. And then some. So there you go. They also created the disaster of the SEC and Elizabeth Warren and trying to stomp out innovation in this great country of ours in the U.S. So that's it. That's like the parting words there. I appreciate you posting that comment, and for all you guys chatting and being able to be part of that. Dawn with the Yeti watching as well, which is awesome. Look at that badass Yeti. Gotta love the badass Yetis. Put some good work into that. And Jim D right there. Look at these badass Yetis. They're so awesome. I love seeing them come up and get posted. Appreciate everybody here. Look at this. I like Sophie. You guys are really extremely smart. Way smarter than an old lady that bought a cross border coin. Thanks for the show and chat. Catch you on the next one. And with that, I'm out of here. You guys are out of here. Go have a good evening, and we'll see you guys on the next one. I'm out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.